Hello, Samadan here. Last week I went through and leveled Shadowlands, Tailoring and Enchanting. This video goes through my thoughts on this profession pair, how they work together and how to make gold with them. I will talk about why I pair these two together. I'll show you the steps to level them to maximum and pick out any good sellers. I'll also talk about what to do after basic leveling and what needs to be unlocked, and then share how to think about pricing the materials and how they interlink. Please be warned, this is all from Shadowlands beta, so some of this may indeed change. So why these two? They work really well together for a number of reasons. Enchanting needs a steady supply of green and blue items to disenchant in order to create the base enchanting materials. Tailoring is a perfect partner for this because often you can craft bracers cheaply from the cloth that players gather around the world. Enchanting is good for tailoring because you can enchant the silk used for higher end legendary crafts. So the base material for this is going to be the cloth drops. These are shrouded cloth and lightless silk. The shrouded cloth is the more common one and will be dropping off any humanoids in Shadowlands. For tailoring, cloth scavenging is getting an upgrade and will replace Northrend scavenging as soon as you learn it. You can pick that up straight from the trainer. Like BFA, the cloth does not need to be made into bolts at all, so that's going to be good as well. For enchanting, there are the three usual materials: dust, shards and crystals. For Shadowlands, there will be soul dust, sacred shard and eternal crystals. The interesting thing this time round is that they can be combined upwards easily by anyone. 3 dusts will make a shard and 3 shards will make a crystal. And then there are spells to shatter them back the other way, so crystals can be shattered into shards and shards can be shattered into dust. This is a fantastic idea because I always had a surplus of Umbra shards in BFA, and this mechanism will help stabilise prices. We've had this before in previous expansions. So how easy is it to level? Well, Tailoring goes to skill level 100 and Enchanting goes to 115. Both are relatively easy to level and it won't take long to max both of these out, so long as you have the materials. Starting with Tailoring, you'd make bandages until 15, and then start making greens, learning new ones as you level. You start with bracers, then onto the hood, and then the shoulders. Once at 40, you can make some more heavy bandages and continue with them until they go grey, or you can start on the Shadowlands gear at 55, all the way to 100, which will give you some blues to disenchant. You could start selling the Shadowlands gear. Once you hit 40, you can add optional reagents and specify certain attributes. At this early stage though, and with this particular pair, I'd opt for disenchanting first. This will take about 256 shrouded cloth and just over 100 lightless silk. You will also have some greens and blues to disenchant that can start feeding into your enchanting. So start your enchanting by disenchanting all of those. You can go all the way up to 25 with disenchanting. If you run out of things and have the spare cloth, then maybe make some more bracers and disenchant those. Once you're at skill level 25, you can start making enchants. These are all pretty much useful, so it's great to have a spread of a few of them and sell to other players. If you learn the new ones as you level up, and make those that are orange to take you all the way up to 70. And once you get to skill level 70, you can shatter eternal crystals and skill up to 90. So if you do run out of crystals, it's easy to recombine the shards and shatter them again. So you could effectively do this with one crystal, but it will take ages, so it's best to do it with a bunch of them. It will take about 32 shatters to level this part. After 90, there are more enchants that open up and take you to 110 easily. These will be the rest of the eternal enchants. The last 5 points are simple enough just by making anything that's yellow skill level. Just pick whichever ones you think players might want. This will take about 100 soul dust, 110 sacred shards and about 70 eternal crystals. Obviously it depends on how you combine those as well. All in all, the process is straightforward and relatively easy. So there are some things you can't get straight away from the trainer in Oribos. For tailoring, you need to visit the Rune Carver in Torghast to learn the new Grim-Veiled legendary templates, so a character that has decent gear will definitely be useful. The Shadowlace cloak needs Maldraxxus rep at Honoured in order to get that, which is likely to be a good seller because everyone can wear a cloak, so cloaks usually do well. There is also a pink party hat, which is a world drop. I'm not sure what use that has at this stage. For enchanting, Sacred Shatter needs Ardenwheel rep at Honoured. Once you have that, you can freely transform anything to anything. Dust, shard and crystals back and forth really easily. The enchanted Alethium barn needed by blacksmiths needs Sinstone fragments from Revendreth to buy. These fragments are drops off mobs in Revendreth, so you're going to need to level to max and do some questing. also needing Sinstone fragments to purchase, as well as having Revered with the Avowed, is Crafter's Mark II. Crafter's Marks are the current way to upgrade your gear in item level, much like Relic of the Past does with older expansion gear. Crafter's Mark II takes your crafted gear to item level 168, which is pretty decent for a recent level 60. You can make Crafter's Marks with Tailoring and Enchanting. They both make the same thing, and they are bind on pickup, but you get to choose whichever is cheaper to make depending on the materials needed. Most likely the Tailoring one, I'd imagine, because that needs 10 shrouded cloth, whereas the Enchanting one needs 15 soul dust. There may be more things that get locked behind rep, so I wouldn't be surprised to see a few more changed over the next few weeks. Things like Enchanted Lightless Silk and Enchanted Heavy Desolate Leather. So what are going to be the good sellers? There are certainly some potential good sellers here. The vast majority of Enchanting is going to be useful to someone at some point. Leech and or speed on the cloaks will definitely be good. There is a good spread of enchants over a wide variety of slots. All gives players plenty of choices and options. I can see having a stock of some of everything here is probably a good idea. The higher bracket ones will ultimately be more desirable. These are the Eternal and Tenor enchants, and of course Shadowlands Gathering was definitely going to be useful. There is no crafting speed enchant this time, sadly. The enchanted silk, leather and bars will be required by players wishing to make legendary templates, so I expect a good markup on these items later in the day, once players start to get to that stage. It will require a fair amount of delving into later content, so I expect this to come into force after the first week or two. Obviously if you get in there early, you can set your own prices. Tailoring gear is going to be interesting. We get to set the stats and item level at the point of crafting, so that means probably making sets of the potential best options for other cloth classes. Pay attention to what are the primary stats for different specs and use that to test the market. Diversity will be useful here in both cheaper lower item level ones and full spec highly tuned ones. So how will we price all of this? Well, shrouded cloth is going to be the driving force here, and to some extent lightless silk. The availability and price of these will most likely dictate the price of both your tailoring and enchanting. Chances are the green braces are going to be used to make enchanting materials mainly. Once we run the numbers and get some decent figures from there, we'll have more information and there will be plenty of price strings to make use of. Enchanting mats being interchangeable means there should always be roughly a ×3 factor for each. The crystals should be 3 times the cost of a shard, and a shard 3 times the cost of dust. How these are priced later will depend on the cloth and any other methods we find for getting hold of them cheaply. So it's all very interesting even at this early stage. Imagine I'll start with tailoring and help players new to level 60, probably aiming straight for the Crafter's Mark II gear with optimal stats as quickly as possible. The early gear might be handy for some as well, so I wouldn't discount it. Once I have a decent source of cloth, I'll be making several of each enchant, setting my price based on the cloth. There are likely to be consistent sellers here until the profit margins get squeezed, and then we'll have to think of new ways of getting good priced materials and take it another notch from there. I'm slightly concerned with the ease of which everything is obtainable. The barrier to entry is very low, so it's likely the markets will get flooded quickly. If this is the case, watch this space as we learn more and find lucrative niches and other ways to make better profits. That aside, I'm incredibly excited for Shadowlands Professions, and I'll be covering other professions in future videos, so keep an eye out for those. Remember, this is all still in beta, so things might change, but this certainly gives us an idea. So until next time, happy gold making, and I'll see you very soon.